Greetings duelists and welcome to another video. Today is going to be another Unearthed strategy. I'm showing a current deck list. I don't have the physical cards on me, so I'm doing like a dueling book version. Um, but yeah, the deck I'm going to showcase today is Shaddolls. Um, so why am I bringing up this strategy? Um, so one thing that's running around is like pack TCGs building on a budget series. He's currently doing it on the Trap Tricks structure deck. And it kind of sparked a memory on me because that's not PAX TCG's first time doing this series. I know that a past one that he did was with Shaddolls. And I looked back at it and I kind of figured Shaddolls are not looking like a bad strategy right now in this current TCG format. Shaddolls gained a lot of tools. They gained a lot of cards that really helps with the deck strategy overall. And I feel like the way the current format is structured and all the decks that were being played that are showing like very good success. I feel like Shaddolls have a really powerful way of like entering the meta game and competing against those decks. Um, I guess I'll start with what changed since the last time we saw Shaddolls. One really significant change is the existence of Blazing Cartesia as well as the Dusk Dragon Grand Null. Um, the existence of these two cards really helps the strategy because one issue Shaddolls always had in the past is if you don't go second and resolve Shadow Fusion, you don't have a very consistent way of starting your engine. Um, Basically, it's like a flip strategy, and you need like 2 to 3 cards in order to like start your engine. You still need multiple cards. However, like Blazing Cartesia acts as both a fusion material and a fusion spell, and that's really important because uh, her being light attribute means you can summon El Shadow Construct. However, Grand Null also has the effect that as soon as it's summoned, fusion summoned, you can dump a level 6 or higher lighter dark monster, meaning that you can dump El Shadow Alkalon. And El Shadow Alkalon also starts your Shadow engine and grabs you your Shadow cards. Um, so yeah, this is pretty much like one of the biggest winners for Shaddolls, like as a strategy. It's also a quick effect, so in the off chance that you get stopped, like on your current turn, you can try doing it again on your opponent's turn. Um, like Brandon High Spirits and Fusion Deployment pretty much becomes like 9 card starters that gets you to Cartesia, which means you have like a myriad of ways of starting your engine with Shaddolls. Um, Another thing that Shaddolls gained in the past year that really benefits them are the Teal Element monsters. Uh, Obviously, they need no introductions. They were pretty much the queens of last format. Um, but in Shadow specifically, they serve a very cool function as because they can also grant you access to Grand Null and they can also grant you access to El Shadow Window. Um, and not only that, they also have the ability of milling cards, which means like it pretty much like triggers your shadow monsters, and they also gain effects by getting milled or used as fusion material, which means you can fuse in with them into other monsters, and then like trigger your shadow effects or trigger like their effects. Um, so yeah, like that's pretty much like all the new things that Shadow gained that really benefit them. One thing that I'm doing in my current Shadow list, I'm playing Grapha, as you can see here. I feel like I guess I'll explain kind of the swamp alongside Grapha. I feel like the existence of Grapha, the Overlord Dark World, is also beneficial because it's a fusion monster that kind of gives the deck like an pseudo omni negate. I'm not gonna say an omni negate, but they gave him like a way to combat like blowout cards, like evenly matched, for example. And that's really beneficial for like Shaddolls in general. Um, because Shaddolls never had like a consistent card to like stop blowout cards. Um, Also to note, like Grapha is a fiend. The reason I bring that up is because I'm playing Despian Quertus with Branded High Spirits. Despian Quertus is like the perfect material to be used here because not only is it a material for Branded High Spirits, but it's also a monster you can summon with Grand Wing Null's effect. If your opponent ends up like summoning a monster with a card effect and you have Grand Wing Null in your field or graveyard. So yeah, like that's and one other huge benefit. Um, like now, I guess I'll explain why Shaddolls, why I played them like over tier elements, over branded, over other fusion strategies. Like what's so beneficial about Shaddolls? Um, the reason I think Shaddolls are really good right now is because we're in a slower format. If you take away like Kashtira's like zone lock and you there's no deck in the game that literally dictates like how games will go after turn one. If you really look at it, which means Shaddolls can thrive because they Shaddolls have a very significant way of playing the grind game. And playing the grind game is really important in this format because, like, if you look at Labyrinth and you look at Branded and you look at Trap Tricks, just to name a few decks, like other strategies that can be mentioned are like Ninjas, Math Mech, Sword Soul, um, just to name a few. Um, like most of those decks, they lose gas like after a few turns. Um, like and Shaddolls is a strategy that once you get your ball rolling, it's really hard to stop because, um, like for example, if you summon Winda very early, like Winda kind of halts a lot of strategies. Um, if we go mid to late game, you can summon like Abcalone and like Construct and start breaking their board like that way. If you get to Shadow Shakinaga, you can dump your Ichizu monsters, less materials, and the Ichizu monsters will mill, which means you get more Shadow effects. Um, like being able to loop your Shadow Fusion monsters with Incarnation is also very annoying. Um, so yeah, like I feel like if you like Shaddolls, if you're a dedicated Shadow player, this is a good format for it. Another cool thing about Shaddolls, they can benefit from cards that are already good in the format, like stuff like Book of Eclipse. Like these cards don't really hinder you a lot because one, you have fusion strategy, so you can fuse it with your face down cards, and two, like Red Shadow Incarnation can flip back your Shadow monsters. So, like for example, if they set Winda with Eclipse, and they try to special summon, you can Incarnation flip Winda back up, and now they're in a weird spot because now they have to get rid of the Winda after they already committed because of Book of Eclipse. Like that's just one example. Um, so another really cool thing about Shaddolls is they can play Denko Seka. Um, Ironically, and the Goseka is a really powerful card right now. Um, like with Trap Tricks and Labyrinth being popular decks, like this is a card that can really take care of them. you notice that there's a empty slot here in my side deck. You can pretty much play a lot of different things that will also benefit you, like kaijus, for example. Lava Golem came out in the Shaddolls structure deck. Funnily enough, if people remember that. So Lava Golem is another card that Shaddolls can play. Um, like pretty much, you're open to a lot of options in the side deck with Shaddolls. The biggest weakness will be Dimensional Barrier, but as I mentioned beforehand, you have like quick play spells, you have Cartesia. Um, Worst case scenario, Wendy setting Wendy back row pass, it's enough to actually keep you in the game sometimes, because uh, the thing about Reshadol Wendy is like, if they cannot get rid of this, like this will probably summon Hedgehog, and Hedgehog can grab your Shadow card, or this can summon Falco. Falco can resummon her back, or if something ends up being banished, you can summon Ariel, flip Ariel. Ariel brings something back from the banished pile. Like you can bring back your banished fusion monsters, for example, and like Incarnation, just sending back the Shadow monsters. Like sometimes that's enough to keep you in the duel. Like, um, but yeah, like if you look at the current decks in the game, like I don't think this struggles against trap holes that much. I don't feel like this should struggle a lot against Labyrinth, because I feel the removal cards are like destruction removal, and they all float. Um, if you face against Dark Worlds, notice how graphite's here. Um, like if you face against Dark Worlds, they are playing cards that makes both players discard. Um, like Mothman, card destruction, and like yeah, like those two cards, just to name a few. Um, and yeah, like all these float. So yeah, like if you face against Sword Soul, that's a very like basic. Uh, that's a deck that can try to push through their interruptions, because their interruptions are very minimal. If you're going to play against Mathmech always have a problem dealing with decks that float. And if you summon Winda turn one, like they kind of lose. Winda pretty much destroys like a lot of decks currently in the game. Um, but yeah, um, if you're looking for another like uncommon strategy, I feel like Shaddolls is a really good one. I implore you guys to give it a shot, and hope you like this video. Soon I'll have recordings with duels involving the unearthed strategies, because you guys probably want a proof of concept. Um, that'll be it for now. Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned and keep practicing and keep dueling.